Long, slender and graceful, hunting cat of prince and potentate, and the fastest thing on 4 legs, the cheetah. A cheetah is an elongated supercharger, the world's fastest land animal, the racing car of predators, and the 3rd largest of Africa's big cats. There's an old Zulu story about why a cheetah has black marks running from its eyes to its mouth. An idle and dishonest hunter was once walking through the veldt. The cheetah's speed and prowess came to his mind. It was hot and he was hungry, but too lazy to hunt. He again thought of the cheetah's speed and of his rumbling stomach, and of what a skilled hunter the big cat was. Suddenly, he saw 2 cheetah cubs in the grass and had an evil thought. He would steal them and they would hunt for him. At sunset, their mother came searching for them. She looked and looked and called and called and cried and cried. She cried so long and so hard that her tears made black lines down her face. And she went on searching and calling until she was heard by a wise old man who became very angry when he learned what had happened. An honorable hunter uses only his own strength and skill, he said, and returned the cubs to their grateful mother. But her face was now permanently stained from her weeping, a reminder that to hunt without using your own skills is very dishonorable. It's from the Hindi language that cheetah comes, a corruption of a word meaning spotted one. There were once cheetahs in India, where kings and princes hunted with them, like dogs. It may have the look of a greyhound and the paw prints of a dog, but this graceful creature is 100% cat, the turbocharger of cats, and quite different from the rest. Its legs are slender but robust, made for racing. It has the longest lower leg bones of any cat, bound by fibrous tissue to restrict rotation and keep the cheetah stable when it's at full stretch. People think cheetahs can't retract their claws, but they can, though not completely. The claws stick out, and as they have no sheath to protect them, they become worn down. Close to these prominent dew pads lie dew claws, the sharp, rudimentary inner toes that hook prey. The characteristic black tear stains are one of this big cat's most attractive features. They might act like crosshairs on a rifle to line up prey, but a more likely function is to reduce the sun's glare. Compared with Africa's other big cats, a cheetah only has small teeth. Spots towards the tip of a cheetah's tail blur into one, becoming rings. Each cheetah's tail has a unique pattern, the perfect way to tell them apart. Coats vary from pale yellow to golden tan. It's a question of being properly dressed for the location. Cheetahs from the sandy Sahara, for instance, are very pale, with cinnamon-colored spots. All cheetahs have about 2,000 coin-shaped single spots, with one exception, the strikingly beautiful king cheetah. This cat has stripes and splodges. The very first king cheetah that was found made people wrongly think it was a new species. In a king cheetah, the gene that controls skin markings produces stripes instead of spots. This cat makes its own very distinct fashion statement. The difference is only skin deep. On the inside, all cheetahs are alike. If a king cheetah mates with an ordinary cheetah, striped and spotted cubs may come out of the mix. A king cheetah pair, though, can only have king cheetah cubs, but a spotted cheetah can carry the gene. Until the gene was discovered in 1981, some people even thought these very rare striped animals were the progeny of a cheetah and a leopard. In that year, a male king cheetah got into a breeding center and mated with 2 captive spotted females. They both had litters with 1 king cheetah cub in each. That's how the gene was tracked down. King cheetahs have only been found in a small area centered on the meeting point of Zimbabwe, Botswana, and South Africa, including the Kruger National Park. But a few years back, a single skin turned up in Burkina Faso in West Africa. Cheetahs can't scale the heights a leopard can, but high enough to scout for food or danger, or see where they're going next. A cheetah's charge is a huge adrenaline rush, a dash for gold. But it's only about a 200-meter sprint. It cannot race at top speed for long because its body temperature soars and it needs to rest and cool down. That's when prey escapes or a kill may be stolen. Top recorded speed is a phenomenal 105 kilometers an hour. Some believe cheetahs can do up to 120, but no one's measured it yet. This is a cheetah in first gear, running just fast enough to escape a potentially dangerous baboon. A cheetah is designed for speed. Its spine is long and flexible and works a bit like a spring. It has no collarbone, which frees up the shoulder joint and lengthens its stride. It has light, even slightly rubbery leg bones and hinged ankles which give its feet a starting block push-off with each stride. And the pads of its feet are equipped with special anti-skid ridges, like tire treads. Half-protruding claws are its runner's spikes and give it extra grip in top gear. And a certain purchase on tree trunks that really only works well on the horizontal. At rest, a cheetah breathes about 16 times a minute. But when it races, this leaps to a staggering 156 breaths. To cope with this hugely inflated need for oxygen, its lungs, bronchi, and nasal passages are specially enlarged. And to pump oxygen fast enough round its body, a cheetah has an enlarged heart to increase blood flow, like having more cylinders on a car to pump more fuel at high speed. Without this capacity, it would overheat if it ran too fast for too long. And potential prey never knows quite when a cheetah will put its foot down. This impressive piece of natural engineering can accelerate faster than a racing car, 0 to 72 kilometers an hour in just 2 seconds. Walking stride is a meter between footfalls of the same paw. This leaps to an astonishing 8 meters when the cheetah's sprinting, and it uses a tail half as long as its body to counterbalance high-speed turns. A cheetah's brakes are fantastic. From 32 kilometers an hour, it can stop completely in just 1 stride, something car makers would give their eye teeth for. An elegant cat that is nature's perfected running machine, the sprinter of sprinters. The athletes it races run for their lives. It runs to eat. A cheetah has quite a range of herbivores to choose from, but it can't tackle a full-grown zebra or wildebeest alone. A coalition can. In a wide-open expanse like East Africa's Serengeti Plains, a cheetah can see its prey a long way off. All it needs is a viewpoint, like the occasional large rock from which this sharp-eyed hunter can look over the sea of grass and large ungulates. Its prey chosen, the cheetah begins a slow, silent stalk. Although a cheetah is the fastest thing on 4 legs, some of the animals it hunts run nearly as fast and go on for longer, so it must get as close as possible before attacking. Three strides take it the length of a basketball court in a second. It tracks its target like a guided missile, twisting and turning in unison. The usual targets are the young, the old or weak, or those not paying attention, like males being territorial. This time, it's a wildebeest calf. Sharp dew claws hook and trip the victim. Cheetahs suffocate their prey, a job made easier as it's usually winded after the chase. The cheetah's wide nasal passages allow it to suck in air even when its mouth is blocked. These cats are remarkably tolerant eating companions. They're all trying to cram in the daily ideal of 4.5 kilos, the weight of a small dog. At one sitting, they can eat a quarter of their own weight. How well a cheetah eats at one meal affects how well it can run after the next. Cheetahs eat fast. They need to. Too many scavenging rivals find it easy to drive them from their kills. They haven't the strength or weapons to defend what's rightfully theirs. Unlike most other cats, cheetahs hunt by day, not by night. And the reason? The night belongs to their greatest enemies, the lions and hyenas. Young warthogs are easy game. An adult less so. It has tusks. And wouldn't you know it, the freeloaders are here already. This is one kill she's not giving up. Yet bitter experience has taught her to hide anything, however small, and so she tries to find somewhere private for the family to eat its meal. Here's a suitable spot. She keeps watch while her cubs eat. Cheetahs normally disdain intestines and stomach, but they can't afford to be choosy over a small kill. This time they'll eat the lot. There's hardly enough here for one, let alone three. Mother will have to run out for another meal today. Just being a spectator is finally too much. She's ravenous, and the scavengers are pressing in on them. They're all hungry, but the cubs must let Mother have most of the kill. She needs an energy boost to make the next. After a meal, a drink. Cheetahs in dry environments like Namibia can go 10 days without one. Here in the Okavango, there's no need to go short. Helpless and blind balls of fluff, smaller than a grown man's foot, no heavier than a quarter-kilo packet of butter. To think these wobbly creatures will one day be the fastest animals on Earth. Cheetahs have larger litters than the other big cats, up to 9 at the very most, possibly because many die young. There are babies all over the place at certain times of year, all doing their best to survive in the face of numerous threats. Cheetah cubs, still alive at 5 months old, are likely to survive. They are old enough then to outsprint most enemies. A cub's fluffy mane starts disappearing before then. There may just be a ghost of it 2 years down the line. It's not true that a cheetah is a bad mother. She bravely tries to draw an attacker's fire if her cubs are threatened. But she can't risk injury, so the best she can do is bluff. And she has no backup. She raises her cubs all by herself, and does it with care and devotion. A cub's enemies are legion. In some parts of Africa, lions are the single biggest cause of cub death. They systematically eliminate them if they find them. cheetah mothers are wandering opportunists with no fixed abode. They go where they need, to hunt, carefully avoiding areas heavily patrolled by other large predators. They travel around in single file, the young in the rear, as if tracking the white tip on mother's tail. A cub's first 18 months are a steep learning curve. It discovers then, for instance, which animals are the right ones to eat. Small antelopes, yes. A giraffe or buffalo, definitely no. The cubs are now adding small quantities of meat to their milk diet and beginning to practice the strangler's grip on prey already dead. They get their first taste of meat at the age of 3 months. Several months later, only one cub is still alive. She's put liquids behind her and has switched to solids. She's at least 7 months old, but still tries to suckle occasionally and licks her mother's nipples to get the milk to flow. As much as anything, it may be a comfort blanket that makes her feel safer, but it's weaning time, so this behavior is discouraged. Any inanimate object can be dummy prey. But mother has the real thing. She calls her cub to join her. The cub has gone everywhere with her mother from an early age, even on the hunt, though not the final chase. For that, she's always stayed hidden. Mother's calls tell the cub the coast's clear. She drags her kill from its hiding place. The cub instinctively hooks on, but can't win this tug of war. The low fronds of a wild date palm will hide them all. In this dangerous world of thieves and killers, a cheetah can't be too careful. The cub doesn't yet have the know-how to break into a dead impala. She still toys with her food, like a domestic cat with a mouse. Eventually she'll learn. Mother won't always be bringing home the bacon for her and cutting it up. People sometimes think cheetahs are social animals, like lions, because they see them in groups. But on closer inspection, these groups usually turn out to be mothers and cubs. The mother is now looking for a chance to give her cub some hunting training. And here's an opportunity, a young tsessebe. The cub comes over to see what mother's doing. She seems to think it's her cue to have a rest. But then her eyes take in the tsessebes. And instinct kicks in immediately the antelope take fright. Cheetahs always tend to chase something that's fleeing. It's not a proper charge, more of a trial run to get her clued up on what to do later in life. But even a gentle cheetah trot set cow and calf off, giving the cub an idea of what to expect when she makes a real chase. The only other cheetah groups are male coalitions. Often they are brothers, juveniles who've recently left home, or older males. However, a juvenile with no brothers may join up with strangers if they'll have him, or he may just remain by himself. These are loyal alliances that last for life and are free of hierarchy. Coalition males do everything together. They're never apart for long. Coalitions hunt together, which allows them to kill bigger prey than if each male had stayed alone. They're territorial units and guard their patch and food resources jealously. Scattered throughout the territory may be several so-called newspaper trees, key locations where the coalition leaves and receives messages, and where they can survey their home for rivals or prey. There were once cheetahs in Asia and the Middle East, where for many centuries they were tamed for hunting, an ancient tradition that only died out as they did. Of a once vast Asiatic population, only a handful now survive. All are gone from Israel on the shores of the Mediterranean. And in Africa, the cheetah's last stronghold, their range has shrunk considerably, especially in Ghana. But in some parts of the continent, many still survive, like Namibia, with over 2,500. East Africa usually springs to mind when people think of cheetahs, yet it's in the southwest where they really thrive. Namibia's cheetah population is Africa's highest. The best cheetah habitat Termite mounds are too good to miss. A cheetah might also scrape with his back feet to add weight to a scent mark. To this cat, feces are not waste material to be buried. They're good boundary markers. A cheetah can urinate at any angle, which is handy for leaving messages in awkward corners. Touching and rubbing, the body language of the family, of the brotherhood just as much as of mothers and cubs, the sign of togetherness. Licking is the family's superglue, a strong silent language of unity and kinship between very expressive cats. Some 55 million years ago, the early land carnivores had divided into two distinct lines, dogs in the one, cats in the other. The very first cat creatures resembled civets. At the end of this period, the world began to cool. The polar ice caps expanded, the oceans retreated, more land was exposed. The steamy tropics shrank, leaving room for more temperate woodland and grassland, and more herbivores. With them came greater hunting possibilities for those early cats, Proalirus being the ancestor of all. Proalirus first evolved in Europe around 34 million years ago. Since that time, cats have altered little, not needing to change body or diet in tune with world climate change. The lineage that produced America's pumas also included cheetahs. They branched from the rest of the cat family around 5 million years ago. Today's cheetah has the same supple, swift hunter's body that its ancestors had in those distant times. Slender, supple, and swift, cheetahs have sacrificed strength for speed, and the price? They often have to give up their kills. The greyhound of cats is no match for a hyena's bone-crushing jaws or muscle power. Even 2 against 1 might be risky. Lions can afford to eat their prey where it drops. A cheetah can't. It always has to try to hide it. Even birds can scare a cheetah from its kill. Scavenging kites have sharp talons and sharp beaks. They're big and bold enough to dive bomb mother and cub. And then, of course, there are the more familiar scavengers. Vultures in a hungry-eyed pack. And a flock of them still stacking, getting ready to land. To have competitors watch their every move is highly stressful. They disrupt the meal. The cheetahs are forced to wolf it down, in between chasing the scavengers. But this menace threatens a greater one. Vultures in the air are like flags flying above the kill. Sooner or later, something will see them. The mother won't try chasing this competitor. If she were bitten, she mightn't be able to run or hunt. It would be the end for her and her cub. So it's not cowardly to leave the company of thieves to it. Yet a cheetah's greatest enemy should be its own genes. Some 10,000 years ago, cheetah populations crashed. All of today's spotted sprinters are descended from just a few survivors, and their genes are almost identical. This should make them very vulnerable, but where they teeter on the brink, it's not their genes which are responsible, it's us. They've adapted well to very different habitats. Epidemics haven't toppled them like some of their rivals. Given space and natural prey, these graceful cats will still thrill us as they sprint over Africa's plains in a race for life.
Yeah.